Today we are going to find the equation of proportionality. In order to do this, we need to know the constant of proportionality, or our k value. When our unit rate is constant, which means that our quantities are proportional, then it is called the constant proportionality instead of the unit rate. In order to find our unit rate, I have to divide y by x. I'm going to take one quantity and label it x, and the other and label it y. So to find my unit rate, I have to divide my y quantity by my x quantity for each pair. My first pair is 224 is y. And I need to divide that by 8. I get 28. I repeat this for my next pair. 280 divided by 10, also 28. My last pair, 112 divided by 4, is again 28. So I know my unit rate is constant. It's always 28. That means my constant proportionality is 28 as well. My next step is to write the equation of proportionality. Y equals kx. When I have two variables right next to each other, that means to multiply, even if there's no operation written between. I'm going to next replace k with its actual value. K is equal to 28, so I substitute or replace k with 28. The rest of the equation is exactly the same as the previous step. When I have a number and a variable right next to one another, that also means to multiply. Now I know that I have half a gallon of gas in the tank. That's my x value. So instead of x, I'm going to write my value. In this case, that is 1/2. My constant proportionality, I just bring back down from the previous step, as well as the rest of my equation I bring down. When I have two numbers right next to each other with nothing in between, but one of them or both are in parentheses, that again also means to multiply. That's why it's so important to substitute into our equation using parentheses. 28 times 1/2, that's 14. My y is 14. So I know that I can travel 14 miles. Therefore I know there will not be enough gas for 26 miles. I'm going to repeat the same process using a graph instead of the table. In this case, we know that this graph is proportional because it is a straight line that goes through the origin, point 0, 0. Again, the origin is this point right here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find two ordered pairs from the graph and explain what they mean in the context of this graph in this problem. That means I'm going to look at the x and y labels. So here we have point 2, 3. That's x is 2, y is 3. I always write my coordinates, x coordinate first, y coordinate second, in parentheses. 2, 3 means that in 2 hours, I can make, or rather, Adriana can make 3 portraits. I can also see that 0.69 is on the graph. That means in 6 hours, she can make 9 portraits. The next step is to determine the constant proportionality. Because I know this graph is proportional, I know if I calculate the unit rate for any point on this graph, it's going to be the same for every point on this graph, because the unit rate is always the same. That means I can pick any 2 points. I'm going to pick 2, 3. To find my unit rate, I have to divide y by x. Y divided by x is 3 divided by 2, which is equal to 1.5. In the context of this situation, I know that the constant of proportionality, our k value, means that Adriana can draw 1.5 portrait per or for every hour. Finally, I write this in an equation. I know my equation for proportionality is y is equal to kx, and in this case, I know my k value is 1.5, my constant of proportionality. Please press pause now. Try this on your own at a voice level 1 with a partner next to you. Then check back to check your answer. Again, please press pause now. Thank you for pausing to try this on your own. We know that we need to find laps per minute. That means we are saying laps per 1 minute. This means our y divided by x is laps divided by minutes. My constant proportionality is equal to y divided by x, which is 10 minutes divided by, 10 laps divided by 25 minutes. I know 10 divided by 25 is 0.4. You can also leave it as a fraction. My next step is to write the equation of proportionality. That's y equals kx. Since I already know that k is equal to 0.4, I'm going to replace k with 0.4. Then I will put everything from my equation back down. So I bring down my y from the previous step, my equals, and my x. Now I have an equation of proportionality.